To begin with, let's consider what context means outside of the context of programming. Context refers to the background or frame of some form of communication or event. We might call the information being communicated as the content. As such, one might say that a page is the context for the words or images drawn on the page, which forms the content. The last non-technical point I'll make is that context is very important. Take, for example, content, which takes the form of the phrase, "I love you, darling." Between a romantic couple, this would be a nice gesture, but if the context changes to, say, you speaking to the biggest biker in the bar, then your chances of taking an unscheduled nap on the floor will exponentially increase. So now that we have a conceptual basis for the word, let us first look at the classes in the Android SDK which extend context. Specifically, notice how two classes which you have likely already used in your career as an Android developer extend context, those being activity and application. Depending on how you structure your application, you could think of an activity as the context for a given feature of your application. Application can in some sense also be thought of as the context for your activities. There's three important things to know about classes that extend context in Android. Number one, they are gigantic in terms of references to external classes and resources. Therefore, if your app doesn't manage their instances very carefully, your app will probably run out of memory and crash. This is due to what's known as a memory leak, which is caused by not properly garbage collecting classes or instances which have lots of references. Secondly, the reason why they are hooked up to almost everything on the device is because context will serve as your access point to lots of different things in the Android ecosystem, such as services, resources, so location sensor, media player, etc. So it's kind of your entry point there. Finally, knowing which context to use can be a little bit confusing, but a good general rule is to use application context for things which are going to be living sort of outside of a feature-specific activity lifecycle, and then anything which is intended to exist only during the lifecycle of an activity, you'll probably want to be using the activities context instead. So that's basically it. If you have questions about Android, Kotlin, software architecture, or just programming in general, then leave me a question down below and I might just get back to you in the next video. If you enjoyed this content, do me a favor and hit the like button down below. Consider subscribing, following me on your preferred social media platforms, and even throwing me a couple bucks on PayPal or Patreon. Links in the description box below. Thanks for watching and peace out.